Today we're going to work on the drivetrain. That is everything underneath this plate right here. What I want to do is I want to figure out what's the best way to get to this. So there's 4 bolts, 2 here and 2 in the front. I don't know if you can see the one down here. There's one right there. All right, these are 3/8 bolts. Let's see if we can get these out of here easily. These have never been off. Oh my. Well, we have had critters living in this. Oh, you just have to loosen them. All right. I think you just loosen these. You don't actually have to remove them all the way, which would be convenient. Oh, wait till you see this. Is it going to come off or is it going to give me trouble? There it goes. Look at that. Isn't that just lovely? Something's been living in there. Okay. I need to remove the fuel tank, which is probably a good idea anyway. Take the fuel tank off and then just clean it out. You dump the fuel out of it and clean any crud out of the bottom. So I'm leaving the shutoff valve right there. There we go. Fuel line and 2 bolts. And I have to go get a tray or a pan for my bolts before I get too carried away. And then this just comes right off like that. And that's all there is to it. So we'll just set this aside for now. I'll deal with that later. Let's see if I lay it on this side. Guess that'll be all right. Okay, there we go. Let's not let it fall off the bench. There we go. Actually, I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot to do to this, other than a little bit of grease. And there's a Zerk fitting right here. And that's just for this gear. So there may not be much to do with this, except maybe look at the friction disc or this rubber drive and get that out of there. Get a new one of those. Okay, lesson learned. Do not lay the machine on its left side. Possibly don't lay it on its right side either. Yeah, probably don't lay it on its side. Or whatever you do, drain the oil first. Yeah, that was kind of, I didn't even think of that. I didn't think it would come running out. At least my table won't rust for a while. I'm lucky today because I just discovered that I have a wasp nest, a paper wasp nest underneath my bench right where I was working. Look at that. And there was a bee that just went in there. So yeah, we're gonna fix that bad boy up right now. I did that one day down by the mailbox. Went to get the mail, opened the mailbox, and there was a bee's nest underneath the mailbox. That was not pleasant. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're not happy. Did I get them all? Yep, they're gone. Okay. Well, when it's dead, maybe I'll show it to you. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. What I want to do now is I want to inspect the belts. So we're going to pull the belt shroud off the top here. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at these belts here. So we have a idler pulley. We have a very loose belt. That would be the belt for the blower drive. And then we have a tight belt. That's the belt for the actual wheels. And surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, they look like they're in pretty good shape. Because it really doesn't get, it only gets used a couple times a year. Although it is old. I mean, it's been sitting around a long time. Okay, so now when you engage the blower, that idler pulley clamps down on the belt there, and that runs the blower. So that's all there is to that, not very much. It's just this linkage here, and there's just nothing to it. Okay. So there's really nothing to do with this. We have this pulley coming off the front of the motor, and then we have another pulley coming off the front of the motor. So on the front of the motor, in here is a little gearbox. So you've actually got two, unlike most motors, you've actually got two pulleys coming off the front. This one is the main one, obviously it's the heavier one, and then this is an auxiliary. That's really all there is to say about that. Come around the other side and look. So here's another idler pulley. So we'll just check this and make sure it's not. It's a little. I guess it's okay. That's how you change the belt right there. Pull that off. Yeah, okay. So getting the belt out is really just a matter of pulling this idler pulley back and then getting the belt out from down in there and just working it up through. Doesn't look too hard. Same with this one. You just got to go this way with it. So yeah, that's not as hard as I thought. I was kind of thinking that you'd have to separate the unit, pull these bolts out, but I guess that's good. So now I know how to do that. All right, I'm going to put this cover back on. We're going to call it good. The bottom plate, and I put that back on. Took a little persuasion with a rubber mallet to get it to go back on. But it's there now. So just put the screws back in. I'm just putting a little grease on the threads just to make them happy. So the next time I go to do this, because I may, as a matter of fact, I am going to look up the model number and see if I can find that rubber wheel and just replace it for good measure. Just because it was all dry rotted. So the last thing I'm going to do with the drive, well, with this part of the drive, is I'm going to give that gear a little bit of grease. So get the grease fitting off. See if we can get it to take grease. There we go. Good enough. Just three little squirts of grease. Should be more than enough. Next thing is going to be, we're going to do this left side wheel. See if we can get it off of here, and then we're going to clean up the axle and put it back on. Pin and wheel. Yeah, you're a little. You're a little bit stuck. Ah, jeez. Okay. Yeah. That definitely needs it. All right. So let's just do this. Get some emery cloth. Okay, just get a nice little blob of grease on there. Now, oh, and the reason the oil ran out of this was because under here is access to the valves, and on the valve cover is a vent for the crankcase, and that's where the oil was coming out of. So I totally forgot that that was there. All right, next thing is an oil change. Oil change is super simple. All you do, they've already, whoever did this was very nice, and they put a little extension on the drain plug with a cap. So this should come off really easy. However, what usually happens to me is when you go to take the cap off, this pipe will turn. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully it just comes off and doesn't give me a hard time. Oh yeah, okay. That's nice. So I suspect this is going to look like mud because it's been a long time. Okay. So while that's draining, we're going to go find the proper oil. All right, she's thoroughly drained out. Put this back on. Get the old oil out of the way here. The book calls for a variety of different oil viscosities depending on the temperature. Since it gets below 0 here, I'm going to use the 5W30 synthetic blend. That seems to be the agreed upon oil for that temperature. So the specifications say this takes 0.77 liters of oil. This is 946 milliliters. So if we pour this out to the 200 milliliter mark, we'll be pretty close. Now this is tricky because this tube is going to fill up pretty fast. If you pour, you can't pour too fast. You got to go nice and slow. So you're just filling it up through the dipstick tube. The oil's so clean I can hardly see it. And we are just about there. Just a tiny little bit more. Not much, you don't want to overfill it. I think they want you to screw this on, not that it makes that much difference. The other thing is, you have to wait a minute for all the oil to drain out of the tube before you check it. Otherwise, you'll get oil on the dipstick and you'll get a false reading. And you definitely don't want a false reading on your dipstick. Yeah, it needs a little more. All right, we're there. Okay, that's it. That's it for the oil change. There's not much to it. Very simple. There's no filter to worry about. Look at this thing. Look at the size of that sucker. Yeah. I'm lucky that thing didn't sting me, and it's still alive. Yeah, we're going to fix that. Put them right on the anvil. There, took care of that. Yeah, that's about it. We'll see you guys later on. Have a great day.